All right, everybody, welcome back to another podcast, Snapper Chat podcast with none other than today we've got Enoch Cheung. Guys, this guy is a savage. He's one of the best I've seen in the industry. He's been in the industry for not that long, I think just about over a year, but what he's been able to accomplish within his first year in the solar industry, guys, is nothing less than just amazing. And it's not just his closing abilities. What I really admire about Enoch, guys, is his leadership abilities. He's one of our regional managers at Nevo Solar, and he just has the guys' respect. So much so that they literally call him the supreme leader. And that is something that I have not seen a lot. And so, it says a lot about you, Enoch. And guys, the whole point of this podcast, other than just adding as much value as we possibly can for everybody watching, is we want to help people right now that are like average sales reps, guys and girls doing like 2, 3, 4 or 5 deals a month, and help them go to that point where they're doing 20 deals in a month. 30 deals in a month, even 40 deals in a month. And so make sure you guys have your notepads. Make sure you guys have your pens. We're going to be asking Enoch what he's teaching his setters. We're going to be asking him what he's teaching his closers. We're going to be going through the objection handling, because the whole thing is this, guys, we know that sales is a transfer of energy. We want to inject and infect them with our enthusiasm so they don't eject and reject us. And the way that we explain solar, a lot of the times, it's very simple, right? You're going through the design. You're going through, the if, then, that question, right? You're going through like the, what happens when we move, right? You're going through all these different parts of the presentation, explaining the warranties. But what we really want to go through, guys, is how we overcome the objections that we all get, not just in home, but also on the doors. So Enoch, I'd love to have you just kind of give a quick, brief introduction about yourself, how you got into the industry, how you feel you're doing right now, and then we're going to get into it, bro.
Yeah, 100%. Thanks for the introduction. My intro to solar was a weird one. I started out at Vivint selling security literally a year ago, May 6th, a year and a half. And I spent my first 3 months doing door-to-door security, somehow got into solar and started as a setter just like everyone else. My first month setting, I set 18, and then I became a self-generator right after that, doing 15 my first month. And from there, I went to California and built out my team. And I did have some help, and I had a mentor doing it with me, and he did teach me a lot about recruiting and everything from the whole setting process. And fast forward till this year, started my own team in a new market, and ran from there. And from that, switched to Nevo, found a better home, and the rest is history. So the whole thing I do remember from like my first year though is you always have to hold yourself super accountable to whatever goal or standard you have for yourself. And for me, it was one a day in security, and I kind of brought that into the solar world too. And I told myself, hey, I'm gonna do one a day, or I would have the fear or the fear that I wasn't doing the best I could. So for me, it was like doing one a day, and then from there, it was saying, hey, every single week I can't bagel, and I've held myself to that standard, and I haven't bageled in a week since.
I love it. So for everybody watching this right now, let's say that we have people watching that are doing like 3 or 4 deals a month, and they want to get to that point where they're doing a deal a day. What are you teaching your setters in order to get the closers in home 3, 4 times a day so they can be getting 1 or 2 deals a day? Are you teaching them the same thing, like very repetitive, like this is exactly how you knock the door, how you break preoccupation, this is how you explain solar, this is how you get the bill? I'd love to just kind of hear like what your process is for what you're training the setters in order to get the closers in home every single day.
But for setters are always going to run off momentum, off a team. And you can tell a setter, hey, you're going to be like, do this today or that today. And a lot of them won't do it unless they see other people doing it too. So it all starts even before like the whole pitch and everything like that. It starts from the top. The top guys have to set the standard, and everyone else will follow that momentum, and they'll see it in the chats. They'll use that momentum to go and do it themselves. Because in the day, sales is a transfer of energy, and if you see the rest of your team succeeding, your vibe is going to be better. The way you talk to a homeowner is going to be better, and energy sells. So I'll say that's like the first thing. The second thing I would say is always affirmations. So before you even get to the pitch, you have to have the mental talk with yourself to be willing to say, hey, I'm going to get one today. And that starts at step 0 here. So step 0 is the talk inside your head. Before you knock every door, you're going to know if that's a good fit. You carry that energy into it. And then in the pitch itself, there's a lot of ways you can pitch, and in terms of like the intro, how you break awk, and then how you explain solar. But I think the biggest thing for me and what I really harp on is the use of a pullback. So, end of the day, we don't know if this is going to be a great fit, because there is a lot of things in the process that could stop this project from even happening. And when you have that transparency and the willingness to walk away from the deal at the doorstep, it creates this kind of emotion in the homeowner's head that they don't know whether they can qualify or if this would be a good fit. So, end of the day, curing that curiosity and leaving that homeowner after you build that curiosity and you get the bill and all that good jazz, when you're walking away from that appointment, one of my favorite things to say and teach a setter to say is, I hope everything works out. And it kind of leaves the homeowner in that frame of mind where it's like, hey, I don't know if this would even work, and it gives them some curiosity and some excitement for the closer to actually do their job. But yeah, that's like I think one piece of advice I would have.
Yeah, I love that. Begin with the end in mind. Make sure that you're going into it with positive affirmations, telling yourself you're getting a sale today versus going out there and saying, like, I'm not going to get a sale today. It's raining out. Like, if you think you can, you think you can't, you're right. So I think that's huge. The mindset, it's everything. Positive affirmations, manifestation, law of attraction. And then, like, what are the biggest objections that you think, if you could pick the top 2 or 3 that the guys are getting on the doors right now, the guys and girls are getting on the doors right now, and how are you teaching them to overcome those?
Yeah, so the biggest thing for, I'd say, like a more knocked area is like, I've already looked at solar. I've looked into this in the past. I say 100%. I'm super glad you actually haven't done it. And I give them a high five. So I'm like, honestly, man, I'm super glad you haven't done it. Like back in 2019 or back in 2022, there's only 2 ways to do it, either through a loan or a cash. None of them make sense. This is completely different. And then you explain like your PPA or your battery pitch or anything like that.
What are the other objections that you're getting besides the areas that are like saturated and people are saying they've already looked into it?
Yeah, another big one is the horror stories. Just because we're you know we're in the market now where it's after the summer season where there are a lot of bad accounts. And the best way to overcome that is you always target, like, if the homeowner knows about that situation and asks like discovery questions on it. So like something I would always ask is like, hey, do you know if they got like batteries or not? Did they buy it themselves through a loan or a cash option? Because if they did that, that's completely wrong. I would never recommend anyone to do that. Instead, I would do X, Y, Z.
Smart. All right, so now for getting into the close, if you had a guy right now that's doing 3 or 4 a month and he wants to go and do a deal a day, what would be your best advice for him or her to be able to go out there and do that? Is it kind of like the same as the setters, like doing like the positive affirmations? Is it teaching them how to recruit, getting them a couple setters? Are they going out and self-jetting? Is it more so working on the presentation? I think a lot of times too, it's just like they're just not working the hours. It's like if you're just doing 2, 3 sales a month, like are you really working, 40, 50, 60 hours a week? And it's like probably not, right? But what would you say would be your best advice for somebody watching right now that wants to go from an average rep to a great rep that goes out and does 20 or 30 in a month?
Yeah, like the hours is always going to be the number one thing. The more you work, the better your skill set gets. And I like to explain that like a bolt and a wrench. The more you knock and the more you train on your skill set, the further your hand you put on that wrench, and then you crank that wrench and you can have more power doing that, so you'll make more money. So, but other than the work itself, I would say training is going to be huge. So like making sure you know the products itself, everything from the electrical side to the products you're selling, and then also like the skill sets for sales. We're going towards, like, in the solar industry, I think a time where electrical knowledge is even more important than ever before. Just because you are talking about backup now, you're working with like different MPUs and transfer switches and other electrical stuff that you got to go figure out. And if you haven't gone through those steps to go do that, I would urge you to say, hey, like, do you even understand what you're selling? Everything from the installation process to, like the end result for the customer. So, um, take the time to like actually go through that, uh, learn about electricals, what you can back up, what you can't back up, and set those expectations because the customer's most likely going to know more than you about their own home. So you got to make sure you're in the home knowing these things as well.
So, how long do you think that takes for somebody to get that product knowledge? And how do they get that product knowledge? The installation process. I think one thing that we harp on a lot is like, and you said it, like, do you even understand what you're selling? How many people right now are watching this podcast and they're selling solar and they've literally never even read the installation document? They've never read the financing agreement, right? And then they're just going out there and just having homeowners sign up for this and they've never even read it themselves. So, would that be the place to start? Would you interview the operations team? Like,
Yeah.
what are the steps to get to that point where you're kind of like how Jordan Belfort talks about, like you're an expert, you're enthusiastic and you're sharp as a tack, but like more important, like you're an expert, right? Is this something that takes a week? Does it take a month? Does it take several months? How do you expedite that? What would be your best advice for somebody if they were like, hey, like right now is December and come January I want to go out and do 30 in a month? How quickly could they get to that point?
I think it really only takes a month to like learn everything you really need to know about like the the finance docs. Like it could take you a day in reality. Like if you haven't read through any of your financing documents, if you don't know where certain objections are going to come up and which page to pull out the warranty for, you're shooting yourself in the foot. So I would say, and this is what I do. I have a notes tab on my phone and I have pages down, and I'll have like warranty on this page. I'll have the certain table I'm looking for on this tip page, and I have like the common questions I would get in the close. And I can tie that into the actual contract, and I know which page they're on. So it's super easy for me to say, hey, 100%, that's actually in documentation. My dad always says like documentation beats conversation. So here, I'll just show it to you real quick. Go to that page. And then they're like, okay, that's exactly what he said. And if you say everything in your close exactly as it is in the contract too, when they look at it after, they're not going to see you beating around the bush as well. So I would say start with the contract itself. After the contract, go through, how the whole solar process works from start to finish, understand that portion of it. And then it's also going to be a lot easier to set those expectations with the customer inside the house as well.
So I think one thing we talk about is if you're a great salesman versus like a good salesman can overcome the objections. A great salesman can overcome the objection before they're even an objection. So what would you say are the top like 2 or 3 objections that homeowners are giving a lot of guys and girls at the end of the presentation? And then how do they overcome those throughout the presentation?
Yeah, I would say I tend to take out the bullets before they're even, shooting them, just in my process. But starting up and going, the reason why objections come is because they're confused about certain things at a certain time. And if you can structure your presentation where you got to think about it like you're in their shoes again and say, hey, I got to understand A before B, before C, then before D. If you can make your presentation out like that, you'll take as many objections out as possible. And then when it comes to like the most common objections I would get at the very end, mainly they would come down to, like, hey, it would be like discovery questions for them to see like, like, hey, I don't know if, I'd be a good fit because I'm moving in this period of time, which I wouldn't sell that person. And then, another like common one is just, I want to think about it, right? I get this too, just like everyone else. And in my process, I always kind of pre-frame that saying like, hey, like, again, we don't know if we can even do this or not. My job is just get the ball rolling. We are step 0 of this whole process. After this, we got to send someone out here, do all like the whole site surveys and start that whole process. And in that time, before we even get permits back, this process might, your project might get disqualified just because there's too much work for us to even do. So it's my job just to get that ball rolling today. If you don't want to do this today, again, I'm super, super busy. So the people who do work with me, I work with them. And if you're not willing to start this process today, I'm going to walk away. And I'm like that stern about it.
And you say that in the beginning of the presentation, or do you do it at the end of
I'll say that at the end, if they give me like, I want to think about it at the very end. I I will walk away from a deal if they say no a few times after that. Because it's in my head, it's like I would rather walk away from that deal knowing he's not going to do it than I'm going to go, follow up with this guy 10 times and let him think about it. Because my headspace, if I go to the next close and I have like that thought, it's like it's not good for my headspace to close the next deal. I rather walk away knowing, hey, that guy's not doing it, and go to the next one and try and get that guy.
Yep. All right, so a couple more questions, and then we'll wrap this up. And I appreciate you taking the time, dude. You've put us on game. Everybody watching, it's like we want to add free value for people. But let's say there's somebody watching right now that isn't in the right vehicle. Maybe the chemistry with the team, energy with the team, market, whatever it is, they're just not happy where they're at. What would it look like for them to reach out and have a conversation with you and me about joining our team, coming out to Texas? And, you guys, since you joined, you guys have been breaking records. You're closing more deals than the offices have ever been closing before. You guys are looking to be the top region this quarter, Q4. 2025 is going to be an incredible year. But what would kind of be that process from the time that, like, somebody reaches out to us? We'll have a link in the description in the bottom of this video. And then to the point where they can come out and be making true solar money, which we say is, $500,000 to $1 million next year. It's not that hard to make $100,000 in solar. You can make $100,000 working part-time, very part-time. But what would be that process from somebody right now watching this video? How long would it take from the point that they, talk to us, join our team, and then come out? What would be the steps to get them to the point where they're able to come out there and change their life and hit those financial milestones next year?
Yeah, first thing is just reaching out. As always, like first thing would be reaching out. So reaching out to someone that you would want to go follow or replicate is super, super important. End of the day, if you're reaching out to the wrong people and you're in that wrong vehicle, it's not going to take you where you want to be. So after you do your research and you find who you want to follow and join and what company you believe in, once you get there, now it's about following the right people in that company. So from there, I guess, like the best thing to do is go through the motions and follow the structures that are given to you. And just trust like your leadership once you're there will get you where you want to be, but also being vocal to your leadership about what you want to go accomplish and following their advice to go do that because they've done it before. And I think that's one of the biggest things a lot of people fault on to not get where they want to go. If they want to say, hey, I want to make 100K in my first year, which is super doable. There's a blueprint that's out there that someone's done it. If you don't have the discipline to go do that and follow that, you're not going to get where you want to be wherever company you go. So,
and then I'll ask you one more question, dude. Again, like I haven't seen somebody come into a team like you've come into a team and earn the respect of people like you've earned their respect. And I like how when we were there last time, you just said, hey, you guys thought I was going to be crazy when I said that these were our goals. And that's like, now we're hitting those goals. So it's like, you weren't crazy, but you just going back to the very beginning of this podcast, you said like, hey, like positive affirmations, you spoke it into existence and you made it happen. And so kind of just paint the vision. Like, what are you looking to do 2025? Who are you looking to join your team? What kind of production are you guys going to be doing? How is the office going to be ran? I'd just like to hear you kind of like just paint the vision for everybody watching, what it would look like if they were to reach out and join our team 2025.
Yeah, 2025 is going to be a hectic year. There's no better market to sell right now than South Texas in terms of our offers. But for my goal here at in Nevo and for this office is to have everyone in the team make money they haven't made before. That's my personal goal. It doesn't matter about where we stand in the company or where we stand in industry wide. It's how can I get the guys here to make the most money they ever have made before. And for some guys, that's going to look like 100 or 150 or 200. All right, so it's like that's my goal. And from a setter standpoint, I want to get as many setters to close as possible. And I really mean it when I say that. I want to level up the setters as much as possible, level up the closers, and from there we can build off and break off teams and pretty much build Nevo Odyssey to where it could be. So that's my personal goal for the office.
It's a badass office, dude. I think we can triple, quadruple how many guys we have in there. I think we can 10x the amount of deals we're doing. It's an incredible market, and we're super stoked for 2025. We're finishing Q4 strong right now. But yeah, the reason, again, that we wanted to do this podcast is to really just, again, give people free game on how they can go out there and hit their goals, not just 3, 4, 5 deals a month, but go out there and do a deal a day. Like, that's true solar money. If you want to make true solar money, you have to be closing every single day. You got to be working the hours. You got to be going and doing the car groups. You got to be doing the positive affirmations every single day, everything that we talked about right here. But for the people that are watching this that don't feel like they're in the right vehicle or they want to be in the right vehicle, we'd love for you guys to reach out. Again, we'll have a link in the description right now. You guys can schedule a 10, 15-minute call with me and Enoch, and we'd love to have you guys come join the team. And if not, take again this free game, go out there, hit all your goals, because we just want everybody in the solar industry to do incredible. It's an incredible industry. We only have like 4 or 5% market penetration. Over the next 5, 6 years, we literally need to like 5 or 6x and get to like 30 million homes that have gone solar. And so the job's not finished. We've got a ton of work to do. We need good people that want to go out there and join our team. But again, like, I like what you talked about there. If you if you're not vocal with your leadership and you're kind of like shooting yourself in the foot, if you're not following the right people in the company, and like, huge shout out again to Supreme Leader Enoch Cheung for coming out here and just leading the guys. You're the top closer in the team, and everybody's like, chasing for you. And it's cool to see the setters too, like, evolving into closers. And like, I think the way you crack the code in the solar industry is like, you start out brand new as a setter and you just knock harder than everybody else. Everything that you talked about with like the wrench analogy, and bring 2 or 3 people into the office, sitting home, learn how to close. You can be a phenomenal closer 3, 4 months from now. It is a learning curve. You do have to learn these things. But no doubt, like, we can't go through everything on this call. Like, you guys got to reach out and actually come out, come on a blitz, join full time. And then Enoch's going to teach you guys exactly how to set, exactly how to overcome objections. You've got these manuals that you've got the blueprint. You've got the blueprint of exactly what to say, how to make people feel, all the paraverbals, and then just the accountability, the incentives. You've truly gamified everything, bro. So it's awesome seeing what you guys have done in such a short amount of time. I like what you said too. 2025 is going to be a hectic year, and that's a good thing, right? We want chaos. We want activity. We want to have a lot of different things going on, because that means that we're being productive. It's like, we're not being busy. We're being productive, and we're getting results because we've got that structure and that accountability. So, Enoch, I appreciate you for taking the time. I know your time is valuable, and you're probably going to be going home right after this, running trainings. But is there any last message that you want to share with everybody that's watching this right now? Maybe somebody's just close to like wanting to reach out, or they feel like they're not worthy of going out there and truly hitting their goals. Like, what's your last final message for everybody watching this so they can go out there, finish the year strong, go out 2025, hit all of their goals?
Yeah, I would say manifestation, as weird as it sounds, works. I don't get the science behind it. I don't get why it works in your head, but when you go say you're going to go do something, you tell yourself that every single day, as false as it might be, your brain will trick you into realizing it. So I'll say, I would tell myself I'm a 100 count rep every single morning for my first year, and I ended up hitting 94. And it's a weird thing that works. Same thing on the doors. If you tell yourself, hey, you're going to go do one, you will go do one. So manifest what you think you can be, even if you don't think it right now. And if you aren't with people that will believe in you hitting that, you're in the wrong vehicle. So I'll say, for leaders, believe in your guys before they believe in themselves, and manifest what you want to go get. So that's like my last message for you guys.
I love it. And to also think big. I love that you said that. I'm going to be a 100 count rep. You went out there, you did 94. What would have happened, though, if you would have said I'm a 200 rep? You probably would have gone out there and got 194, because the mind's that strong. And so, yes, manifestation, law of attraction, visualization, but then just like think as big as you possibly can, because it takes the same amount of work to go out there. You just got to have that belief. So, Enoch, you're the man. We appreciate you. Guys, again, we'll be doing these every single day for the next couple weeks, and we're going to turn you guys into savages. So you guys go out there 2025, hit all of your goals. You do want to be, all about that proximity. If you want to get to $1 billion, right, you got to be hanging out with billionaires. If you want to be a rep that goes out there and does 100 reps, 100 deals, you want to be around people like Enoch that have done 100 deals already, right? So proximity is power, guys. You're a product of the 5 people you hang out with, and we'd love to have you guys be a part of our team. And if not, again, go out there and hit all of your goals, guys. Make sure that you're working hard, staying positive, doing the positive affirmations, and just being a good person, guys, because if you take care of homeowners, they're always going to take care of you, and this is an industry that we want to protect. Always do the right thing, and that's where referrals come in too, and that's where you're able to go out there and go from 100 to 200 deals. So Enoch, again, thank you so much, bro. We appreciate you. And guys, we'll see you in the next one. Peace.
Take care. Peace.